Where do you start? I think for me, when we get this type of questions or type of clients coming to us, and just it's that sense of feeling overwhelmed, isn't it?
Yeah.
That there's so much to do, so much information. I don't really know where to start. A lot of time, what I feel is when a client comes to us, to me, they devalue themselves a lot. You know, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, and I should have, could have, would have. But to me, it's like you've got to a place for a reason with as much as you could do. Now it's more making perhaps strategic decisions, and having all this information around you perhaps is just confusing you.
Yeah, and also it's your workload, isn't it? So it's just, I mean, you have to kind of get to that point where you realise that your to-do list will always be a to-do list, and you're never going to finish that list, because no sooner do you take one thing off, another one comes in. But it's just really about being able to prioritise that as well, isn't it? So being able to look at the list, you don't know where to start, but be able to look at the list and pick sort of your top priorities for that week, for each day of the week, or...
But do you feel like you get bored of that list? I think that's a lot of our clients kind of, you know, or people we talk to at the beginning is very much, I know I've got all of this to do.
Yeah.
But there's that boredom around it, and perhaps to me there's a sense of definitely feeling overwhelmed, perhaps listen to too many things, and perhaps having that lack of direction a little bit. Because if you've got that direction, you know where you want to go, then you don't flitter between things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's also about just wanting to move ahead all the time as well, wanting to be that further on, when really sometimes you just need to restabilise, relook at what you've got, and just work on what you've got, rather than keep on trying to build on that. Just recenter and refocus around what it is you're doing now, what's important, and solidifying what you've got before you're moving on. Because I think, like we've always said, when you're a salon owner or clinic owner, or you own a hair salon, that you're always you're creative, so you're always jumping that step ahead. You want more, you want to do different things, you want to go on this course, do this, do that. But it's just reevaluating what you've got and putting it into sections as well. So putting it into areas that they fall into, and what are you going to work on this day, and then just focusing on that rather than keep dipping in and out of it. And of course with the to-do list, sorry, I know you're going to say something, but with the to-do list, what you tend to do is pick out the easy stuff, because I mean we've spoken
Stuff
about that
you
before. The stuff that doesn't challenge you too much, because you can't quite figure out or want to start that massive task or whatever it may be. But then it comes down to also delegation. So is there things on the list that could be delegated? Who could do them? What are the strengths? I mean, it just kind of, it's wide stretching, isn't it?
I really do think that nowadays a salon owner is beyond a salon owner. They have to be kind of a marketer to some extent, even if they don't know how to do the posts or whatever. They have to think of the strategy, they have to think of the press and the PR and everything they want around them, they have to think of the operation, they have to think of the growth, they have to think of new clients, existing clients. Like, it's just so much to do. You're beyond owner, I feel. You're an entrepreneur, but you're not perhaps visualizing that. So when clients come to us and think, I'm opening my laptop, I don't know where to start, it's because you've got this huge mountain that you feel you have to achieve in order to get where you want to be. But actually, a lot of time is actually reassessing where you're at, like you said, taking that step back. What is important for me right now? What can I delegate? And how can I look at things that are important in order to grow, which is why they start the coaching in the first place, is this whole assessing what is going to work for me right now and going to make a difference to my work-life balance or my, you know, my to-do list, I feel. But don't you feel that this sense of being overwhelmed, somewhere along the line there's an issue with, perhaps, I'm not saying there is, but perhaps there's an issue with the structure and how they structure their day and how they structure a bit of a burnout, perhaps even?
Oh, definitely. I mean, And I also feel like sometimes as owners we put that on ourselves, because if we feel we're not doing enough, and we haven't got enough on our to-do list, we're adding to that because we feel we should be moving all the time.
Yeah.
And so, I think it is a pressure we put on ourselves, and that's what I was saying before, whereas I think if you can just sit back and look at where you're at, and do you need to just check out what the structure is? And I mean, we were chatting to somebody yesterday, and she said that she'd sort of lost her way in the business, and that she's realised that she needs to step out in order to, because the girls in the team, it's a hairdressing place. The girls in the team can do that, but they can't do what she needs to do.
Yeah.
So she needs to come out of it in order to be able to do what she needs to do on the business and prioritise. Because then it came up, didn't it, about the marketing and the retail and so on. It's like, okay, but we need to do step by step.
But it's a scary thing to do, though, isn't it? Because you're looking at your column, and this is kind of what's a mindset.
Yeah.
I've got all this money that I'm taking on a daily basis. Suddenly I'm having to step away. So that decision making is such a big step.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you become more overwhelmed, because in your mind, right, I've got all this time now, but we know that if you set a day admin, yesterday was a typical day where it's like 4:00. How has that happened?
I know, and
yet you haven't done what you set out to do. So it has happened to all of us. It's not that it's not kind of a set structure and that's it. Of course, you're going to have a day where it's going to be more fluid, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's that sense of the to-do list and feeling that you can control the to-do list a little bit more and control a little bit more of what you want to do and what you can delegate. Like the marketing, for example. Marketing is not necessarily existing enough for her to... Of course she's going to feel like it's a mountain because it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, and all that's well and good, isn't it? And there's so many different aspects on it. But if we take it back to you open your laptop and you don't know where to start, then it's stripping that back, stripping your to-do list back, I feel, and categorising it into, different elements of the business, first of all, so you can clearly see what you've got to do on what areas of the business, and then prioritising. Okay, so first and foremost, this is what I need to do on the marketing. This is what I need to do on the operations. This is what I need to do here. Then looking at those job lists individually and the team, and is there any member of the team that could take the event planning off me, or just this certain amount of admin, and looking what their strengths are, what you can delegate, and then prioritising out of each of those.
But I find when those typical clients come to see us, a lot of clients who come to see us is very much that, like, I know I've got all the information, I've listened to so many things, I kind of know what to do. I've arrived to a certain point, not by accident. This is what I want to say to them. You've arrived there not by accident. You just know now there's something to refine. But I find this is the key, is that yes, we know they need to look at different aspects of the business and kind of, but they just can't seem to prioritise. Because that priority seems as important to do the marketing, as important to do the event planning, as important to... So it becomes overwhelming for me when we talk to clients who are, or potential clients who are, I just don't know where to start. It's that overwhelming. And I feel that unless you cut it in small bite chunks of things that are going to matter to you right now and going to make a difference. So this particular client yesterday, when we were speaking to her, it was like, you're not giving yourself a day off. And it's like, if you don't give yourself that headspace and that Sunday, Monday off, Tuesday, Wednesday admin, Thursday, Friday with clients. So I think it was 3 days admin actually. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday admin, Friday, Saturday with clients. You've got Sunday, Monday to refresh, recenter and everything else. You're going to carry on feeling overwhelmed. You're going to feel everything's on your shoulder, and you're going to carry on making, not necessarily wrong decisions. I don't believe in wrong decisions, but decisions that are not impactful. So you're back into feeling overwhelmed and stressed.
And you're not being effective with your time, isn't it? And that's the thing, is that, and I think as well, what we try and do with the to-do list is we're trying to do it in between doing everything else. And that's why you need those set times, and that's when you then need to go back to your diary to look at what days you're doing what, and then setting times, and not too long a time for a set subject.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes boring, and then your mind starts to wander and so on, and you start to Google around different things.
Yeah, you're looking on LinkedIn and you're looking at a guy in China. Oh, he's interesting.
He's
selling this. I need this. Do I need this?
I know.
I didn't know I needed that, but I do now.
Exactly. So I think it is just, really analysing, well, it always goes back to the time management as well, but really analysing how you're spending your time, when you're dedicating the time to the to-do list, and what part of the to-do list on that day, and then make sure you give yourself, that quiet time, that quiet space, that you're not in the business whilst you're doing it, and then you can really focus, whether it's that 2 hours on that particular area. But also that's, I suppose, why we do coaching as well, because sometimes it's as simple as someone else looking at what you're doing and analysing and saying, well, okay, so that would be a great thing to do in the business. I mean, again, it's like us. We think, oh, we need to do this and we want to do that. It's not crucial right now.
Yeah.
So it's something we want to do, but right now it's this part of the business that we need to focus on.
But a lot of time is because they haven't worked on the direction, or the direction is blurry. We don't talk about visions anymore, because vision for us is kind of a bit of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the direction of at least where you want to be by the end of the year, how can you get there? If you flit it, of course you're going to feel that everything is overwhelming because you've got a mountain, but you're not too sure why you're climbing it anyway.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like
what's
this direction. Yeah, what's the end goal? How do you want to work by the end of the year? How do you want to feel by the end of the year? What's important to you by the end of the year? Because then you make clearer decisions, I feel, around your to-do list. For example, we've got a very good client who perhaps the marketing needs to be worked on, but it's a very busy salon. What we needed to work on was a lot more important on operational and structure than focusing on the marketing, even though we know it's important.
Yeah, of course, but right now
at this present moment, that's not the main thing that's going to change her way of thinking and doing her achievement by the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think it is that small bite-sized chunk. So in 3 months' time, I need this to happen.
Yeah.
So in order for that to happen, what do I need to do now? And so, I think it's those small goals, those small mountains or the small hills or whatever you want to analyse it as, and then working backwards and saying, okay, so that, and prioritising that. So that's okay for me to start. It doesn't need to be done within 3 months.
Yeah.
And then you can... So there's different ways, isn't there? But I do think having somebody else, whether it's, a coach or somebody else in the business, a manager that you can bounce off if you have a good relationship there, somebody else to look at that with you.
Yeah.
And say, okay, let's break it down. Because when you're in it and you're in the thick of it, it's just hard, whereas another set of eyes, somebody else can just come in and look at it and think, okay, well, you can leave that, you can park that for the moment, and then this is where we need to start.
I love that saying in the UK. It's always been my favourite, how to eat an elephant.
Yeah.
In small bite chunks. And I've always taken that, and I just thought, that's it. It's small bite chunks, because you just can't climb that mountain that actually, in essence, is not such a huge mountain, but you're visualising it as a huge mountain. And a lot of time that overwhelmed feeling is because you're just thinking too big, perhaps, and we just need to bring it back down a little bit, structure everything, and then move forward, really, isn't it? So all you have to do now is press the subscribe button and join us every week for an Insight Chat.
And if you have any burning questions that we haven't yet answered, then just pop in the comments below or send us an email and we can include them in one of our weekly chats.
And also we have started this amazing community of like-minded salon owners to join us on a monthly basis with our Insight Chat subscription.
Yeah, on that chat as well, you'll also get access to lots of free downloads and content that can really support you in your business.
And thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.